Okay, the fluids have been checked. We're in the car. Have the keys in the ignition. It's time to fire this podcast up. Yes, I got it done right. I wanted to do this. I was trying to figure out what I did wrong, and I got it right. Got the Cordova start thing here, so we can start this podcast off the right way. Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Scott Gresser of the WaltPar Podcast. So grateful to have you here joining me today, uniting all generations and types of Mopar fans, lovers, and enthusiasts everywhere, from Walter P. Chrysler to today's Mopar and beyond. This is the WaltPar Podcast. Again, hello, everyone, and welcome. I am your host, Scott Gresser, Mopar since 1960. And I'm ever so grateful again to have you here joining me here on the WaltPar Podcast. My email address is waltparpodcast@aol.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. Search WaltPar Podcast. That's WALTPAR Podcast. Well, that car you heard start was my 1976 Chrysler Cordova. I've had it since it was 1 year old. Bodywork done in 1990. All the mechanics done in 2018. Now, it's been a good car. Hasn't been reliable as my 2006 Town & Country or my 87 Lancer ES but I guess it could be as good as my 1967 Coronet 500 I had. That's the car I tell Chris Albrecht, respect the 273. I had that engine in the 273 in my Coronet 500. Great engine. It really is. Now, the nice thing about the Cordova was, and still is today, it's so predictable in how it runs. And now I know I've had it for a very long time, but to me, it still runs as consistent now and feels the same as it did when I bought it clear back in 1977. So when I went, here I go, I keep using that word, but the thing is, it's a lean burn car, and I thought part of the way it started so predictably was because of the lean burn system. When I had all the mechanicals done in 2018, I had, the lean burn disconnected. People said it's going to run better when it does, and it did. Use a little more gas, but that's fine. It runs great. I knew it would once I got it done. Put on a Summit Racing electronic ignition system, put it back to like other electronic ignition cars are. And you know what? It fires up the same. So when I wanted to record this, that car was perfect because there would be no questions on cueing this to get it together for me to say what I wanted to say. I could say, now it's time to start this podcast up. And I knew it would do what I wanted it to do. And so very predictable. The car takes me everywhere I want to go without any flash or anything. Love that car so much. I'll also love when my Demon 340 is done, and I have to work on that. It's been over 2 months since I touched it. I got to get my butt in gear and get that done. But want to let you know as well, it took me so long, but I figured it out, and I'm on Apple Podcasts. And I find out that when you search for any podcast, some of these podcast platforms search off of what listing is at Apple. So I'm on that, so hopefully I'll be able to get more people to find out more about the podcast and get more people to listen. Right now, podcast number 2, What It Took to Be a Power Broker, has been my most popular. I've only had like 42 people listen to it so far. Hopefully we'll be able to grow that, and I need your help with that, and I hope I can get that more on that later. But let's get to the Stellantis news right now. We have all kinds of articles out there this time that pertain to the Wrangler and the Gladiator. First one, Patrick Rawls, Del Powell, Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders, and Ronan Glon of Autoblog report there will be a last call Wrangler Rubicon 392 coming out, but it will only be available to dealerships who meet a certain sales goal or quota. Not every dealer will be getting one like they did with the last calls of the Dodges. Second, Jonathan Ramsey of Autoblog has written an article giving a review of the pricing and options for the 2024 Gladiator, and so did David Zatz on both the Wrangler and the Gladiator on the pricing for the 2024 models. Third, David Zatz of Stel Power and Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders report the 35-inch tire option that was only available on the four-door Wrangler Unlimiteds will now be available on the Willys and Rubicon models of the two-door Wranglers. Finally, there was two awards that were given to Jeeps. Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders and David Zatz of Stel Power report the British auto publication called What Car has awarded the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon with the Best SUV for Off-Roading award. And Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders reports the Wrangler and Gladiator have won the Best Vehicle for Adventure award by Autotrader.ca. That's the Auto Trader version in Canada. That's the Best Vehicle for Family Adventure was awarded by Autotrader.ca in Canada. Now, Dodge put out some social media photographs of pre-production 2025 Charger Daytonas. Zach Palmer of Autoblog, Patrick Rawle of Stel Power, he himself had two articles. Jared B. of Mopar Insiders also wrote. They all have articles on their observations. And Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders shares an Instagram video by Sinister Coyote 2.0 showing the new LB body Charger on the streets of Detroit. Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders, with the help of the Detroit News, reports the Jefferson Road Assembly Plant is being watched by the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy for air quality violations from their paint shop. There will be fines levied for the violations. Congratulations to the Walter P. Chrysler Club. Their Facebook page has now over 5,000 members. Congratulations to the WPC Club. Keep those numbers growing. We got to keep our hobby going, and that the WPC Club or Walter P. Chrysler Club, it's the granddaddy of all Mopar clubs, and it's still going strong. There was a great interview, I remember a long while back. It was called the Chrysler Club, and it was on Talking Mopars, if you want to look that one up. That was a good article and a good interview that Chris Albrecht did on the WPC Club, which is also known just as the Chrysler Club. David Zatz of Stel Power and Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders report sales figures of Stellantis vehicles in 29 European countries. Stellantis now has an 18.4% market share overall. They have a 30% market share in cargo vans and a 14.2% market share in battery electric vehicles. Patrick Rawle of Stel Power reports the market value of the Challenger SRT Demon 170 has been holding its own. Good. Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders reports Stellantis has declared a permanent separation of 539 supplemental employees across its U.S. manufacturing operations. Stel Power reports these are not layoffs, and therefore these people are not eligible for supplemental unemployment benefits. This does not include the 2,453 employees at the Mack Avenue Assembly Plant or the 1,225 employees at the Toledo Assembly Complex, who may be facing layoffs in the future. Now, these adjustments are being made as part of a strategic plan at Stellantis as it transitions to electric vehicles. Now, Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders also has a second article on this with reaction from Sean Fain, president of the United Auto Workers. Patrick Rawle of Stel Power reports Stellantis has reached a deal with SIXT Rental Company. SIXT is a European rental car company that is expanding into the United States. The deal has the potential for Stellantis to sell 250,000 vehicles to SIXT. As reported in episode number 4, the Brazilian built and sold Ram Rampage compact truck. It will now be sold in Argentina as well. And also, Robert S. Miller, in another article, reports that you can add Uruguay to the list of countries in South America selling the Rampage compact truck. It's not sold in the U.S. Love to see it up here. It could be a good competitor to the Maverick, but what do I know? Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, the Autoline Daily Podcast, and the Automotive News Daily Drive Podcast all report Mark Stewart has resigned his position as the Chief Operating Officer of Stellantis North America. He has resigned his position so he can become the Chief Executive Officer of the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Mr. Stewart will be replacing Rich Kramer, who is retiring, and replacing Mr. Stewart will be Carlos Zarlenga, who is currently president of Stellantis Mexico. Ronan Glahn of Autoblog and Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders report Ram has unveiled the new Ram ProMaster van EV. It's been talked about now and coming this fall to a Jeep dealer near you. Zach Palmer of Autoblog, Patrick Rawl of Stellpower, and Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders all have preview articles on the new Wagoneer S battery electric vehicle. Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders reports the number of Ram dealers in Brazil more than doubled in 2023. At the end of the 2022 model year, Ram had 60 dealerships, and at the end of 2023, I should be the actual is, they now have 123 dealers selling Rams in Brazil. Further vehicles being built by Stellantis will be based on platforms: the STLA Small, the STLA Medium, the STLA Large, and the STLA Commercial platforms. Joel Stocksdale of Autoblog, Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders, and David Zatz and Patrick Rawl of Stellpower all have great articles on the new STLA Large platform that was just unveiled recently. David Zatz of Stellpower reports Stellantis purchased artificial intelligence and data analysis firm CloudMade. The reason for the purchase is to develop software and also to provide expertise needed for Stellantis' Smart Cockpit project. Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders reports the second printing of the Direct Connection catalog is now out and available for printing. Go to dcperformance.com for the link. David Zatz of Stellpower reports Jeep is working to get a patent on a 2-speed gearbox that will be used on the Wrangler and the new Recon battery electric vehicles. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the most important news to report this time on the WaltPar Podcast. In years past, so many of us enjoyed when the first major snowfall happened in Iowa. Social media star Mopar Keith of Noel Automotive in West Branch, Iowa, would fire up his rusted-out red and black vinyl top 1968 Charger, affectionately known as General Lou, and make all kinds of donuts in the parking lot. Well, this year, Keith started making donuts in a rusted 1971 Sublime Challenger RT. And like so many, why? Well, I had to make a phone call out there to be able to find out where they were able to get fenders for a car they restored. And I was doing this for one we have in our shop where I work at. And while I was on the phone, why not? I asked the question many others were. What happened to General Lou? Well, General Lou got purchased by someone. It is now residing in Texas, where for as badly rusted as this car is, it will eventually be getting a restoration. Mopar Keith gave me some information about the car. It's a 383 two-barrel car, non-RT. He got the radio working. He got the heater working. Hey, if you're going to do donuts, you may as well be comfortable, right? But the car is badly rusted, and he had special tires underneath it. He was able to do it because the wheel wells were so rusted out. He had extra clearance for bigger tires, and he was able, and that car never got stuck. And he tried to do different things to it, and it wouldn't go. So, but the car is now sold. It's residing in Texas. The last he said, the people that own it are actually driving it right now, but that car will get restored at one time. I just hope that the new owners, when they do get it done, will keep General Lou's name alive. And I knew you'd wanted to know, and I'm glad to bring you the news. Now, for the links to these stories I use on episode 5 of the WaltPar Podcast and more, go to my Facebook, Twitter, and Threads pages. Search WaltPar Podcast. If you ever wanted to do a podcast, there's people out there who would love to hear what you have to say. No matter the subject, there's someone who wants to know relationships, politics, hobbies, gardening, handyman, cars, There's so many things out there. Physics. I have a cousin who's big into physics. Those kind of things could make for a great podcast for someone. You don't know till you try. And if you think you can't do it, remember this. You probably talk a lot better. You talk a lot faster. You talk with more intensity when it's something that you love to talk about. Now, to do a podcast, you don't need a lot of fancy equipment. I mean, I have a mixer, I have a microphone, and I'm using my laptop computer to use as a script and whatever and get it all set up to get this podcast sent out. But you don't even need that. You can use a smartphone. Podcasters for Spotify can help you out. Plus, with the YouTube videos, it's easier than you think to do a podcast. You can have more than one person in it. You can do whatever you like. But Podcasters for Spotify can help you get the ball rolling and do it for free. Andre Bernier of Fox 8 in Cleveland, the weatherman there, he uses it for his Weather Jazz podcast. Cheryl Atkinson, the famous reporter, she uses it for the Cheryl Atkinson podcast. And so many other. Big Block, he uses Spotify for podcasters. So please go to podcasters.spotify.com, find out more information. They answer all kinds of questions for you. It's very easy to set up. It's very easy to do. If you can always have your help, have somebody help you, get the word out. Like I said, it's easier than you think. You can even use just your smartphone, and you can get yourself out a podcast for people to hear you. Go to podcasters.spotify.com for more information. Now, if you remember back in episode number 2 of the WaltPar Podcast, I talked a little bit about the impact of the model year 1972. Well, to set this monologue up, I have to go back a little earlier in time. Now, please keep in mind, what I'm going to tell you are not proven facts. I haven't researched any books or old magazines. I've done no online research, and I didn't watch any YouTube videos either. It was what I remembered from personal experience over 50 to 55 years ago. That's right, when I was only a teenager. But yes, just want to get that out of the way for you. Now, today's domestic brand vehicles are mainly made to fill certain niches in the automotive market. Each brand doesn't make something for everyone like they did beginning in the 1960s. With the exception of the Chrysler, Imperial, Lincoln, and Cadillac brands, all the nameplates had their own larger full-size vehicle, an intermediate size, and a compact vehicle. In 1971, subcompacts were introduced by Plymouth, Dodge, Chevrolet, and Ford. And each of the 3 larger sizes, the full size, the intermediate, and the compacts, they all came in 2-door, 4-door, convertible, and station wagon body styles. And on top of that, various trim levels were offered on each of them as well. Now, yes, there were exceptions here and there, but you get where I'm coming from. And when it came to trucks, well, not much was happening back then in the early 70s. Nicer trim levels were starting to come out in the very early 70s. A few folks were installing their own custom wheels. 4-wheel drives didn't start getting popular until about 1976. Installing lift kits and larger tires didn't happen until a few years after Bigfoot came out, and that got the rage going on that. Also, trucks back then, a lot of them still had long beds. Shorter beds didn't start getting popular till about the 1980s. But you get to the gist, plus you'll find out later in this monologue why trucks weren't quite popular until after 1976. Now let's get back to the cars. While the manufacturers had special showroom brochures highlighting the classic muscle cars, they were still just a part of the model lineup. You had your basic car with no frills, you had your nicer trim, plus you had a sporty or luxurious trim, then you had the high-performance models. Mainly a 2-door. You can get a fairly fast engine at extra cost in a 4-door or a station wagon if you want, but not what you can get in a muscle car. Now, just like today's modern Mopars, classic muscle cars were purchased and used as everyday vehicles. Both had their share of modifications, but Compared to the modern Mopars, where they have been kept in better shape most of their lives, the classic muscle cars were driven hard and badly beaten up and were not in the pristine, clean, garage-kept machines you see today. I remember back in 70 when I worked at the Dodge dealer. Just got over my sophomore year in high school, and I worked at the Dodge dealer in the parts department. I'd be looking at the line of cars. I would see a Coronet 500 parked next to a Coronet RT. I would look at that Coronet 500 and think, that thing will be kept in pretty nice shape. I looked at that Coronet RT, had the same nice seats, same paint, same sheet metal, and that car would be beaten to a pulp. Big time. Not clean, beaten, hard, dented, everything. Dirty, filthy, everything. Those cars, that's what they were made for, and the people who bought them made sure they did that. Now, there was more than that. The second thing that turned ugly for the muscle car in episode 2, like I told you, the majority of the engine compression ratios were dropped from the 10s to the 8s in the 1972 model year. And if that wasn't enough, in 1973, we had the Arab oil embargo hit. Supplies of gasoline of all grades were lessened severely. Due to supply and demand, gas prices through the middle 1970s went from 30 to 35 cents a gallon to around 50 cents a gallon. And when 1980 came around, they hit $1 for a gallon of regular. Pictures back in that time show people waiting in long lines at a gas station because other gas stations just plain flat out ran out of gas. And the gasoline stations didn't know when more was going to come. In smaller towns, like where I lived, it didn't happen as much, but I do remember seeing a few stations close because they ran out of gasoline to sell. So with the price going up in the middle 70s, 1.5 times, and it was well over double in 1980, people were looking for something with better fuel mileage. Now here's the thing, low-tech metal, it's what I call it, because the metal back then, used in the classic muscle car, even in my Cordova, wasn't anything near the quality it is today. They started rusting out back then when they turned around 3 years old. My Cordova did, and no matter how clean you kept it or whatever in the rust belt state, that was going to happen. Now, as the average classic muscle car owner was getting older, so were their attitudes and events in their lives, like raising a family, the high cost of insurance. That didn't help matters either. Of course, the fuel mileage wasn't great in those cars either, and they were 2-doors. You needed 4-doors to get the kids in and out, groceries and everything else. So it was just going bad. It was so bad. I'm going to give you a few examples here of how bad it was to even sell that muscle car so you can get something more fuel efficient back then. There's a married couple I know, and you can go to the Facebook page of Mid-Ohio Mopars, go to member rides in the photos section. You'll see the bright yellow Super Bee with a black vinyl top and the dog dish hubcaps and like that. This is the car I'm talking about. They bought that car brand new for around $3,800 back then. In today's dollars, it'd be a little less than $30,000. It was a brand new 1970 440 6-pack 4-speed Super Bee. Now, they were thinking on trading it in for a different vehicle because, of course, the gas and insurance prices. All they could get for the car was $300, and the thing was in perfect shape. In today's dollars, that's $2,362. That was it. That's how bad the resale value were on these cars. So they said, hey, for that little amount of money, we'll keep it. Now look what they got. My own 1971 Dodge Demon 340. That is a numbers-matching factory air car. Of course, people didn't worry about that back then. It was pretty much used as a toy to beat on when I bought it. The dark blue car with a full white vinyl top had light brown fenders, no grille, turn signal bulbs dangling down, one muffler, no choke, BB gun holes in the windshield. The left rear brake drum had a 1/16 inch groove dug into it from the brakes being shot, almost black transmission fluid, and a whole lot more. In fact, the one tech I worked with at the Dodge dealer in Columbus bought it first. He pulled it out from being frozen in the mud under a tree out of an impound lot. He paid $100 for the car. He was going to fix it up for his wife, but then he found out another technician had a 1972 Charger Rally 340 a month later. So that's more sporty than the Demon. Let's fix it up for her. So he sold the Demon 340 to another tech for $200. 1 month after that, I bought it for $250. So in less than 3.5 months, that car had 4 owners. That's how respected these cars were. Now, another thing I wanted to tell you what was going on with some of these cars as well is that the cars themselves were useless, but back then, and a lot of them were pulling engines out and then putting those engines in something else. And then pretty much the car was pretty left out to dry, junked, whatever. People put 318s in them. A friend of mine had a 70 Super B. It had a 318 in it after they pulled the 383 out. But that's how bad it was back then. And, of course, people didn't realize what was happening, and they were finding out as the years go by. So that was proof you couldn't give these cars away in the mid to late 1970s. Pretty bad. And on top of that, as the 70s went on, the economy was tanking fast as a whole, and so was Chrysler. Chrysler was almost out of business. It was pretty bad. But through the work of Chrysler President Lee Iacocca and President Jimmy Carter, a bailout plan was drawn up to keep Chrysler in business. And they paid that loan off early, too. Lee made sure of that. And we're thankful for him for that, because if it wasn't for that and some of the other things he did, I don't know what we'd be driving today. So that was a huge, huge advancement, in keeping Chrysler going. Of course, there was the other bankruptcy that went on in the middle 2000s. We can talk about that later. But this time around, Lee Iacocca and President Carter, with the bailout plan, saved Chrysler Corporation. And when the 1980s were coming around, people were seeing the writing on the wall and noticing that these cars were not coming back whatsoever. And so they did something they never did before. They started taking care of them and restoring them where they could. And we're going to leave it right there for right now. But again, this is what I personally remember from way back when, and I wanted you to hear this from someone who actually lived it, so you all have an idea of what was happening back then. Now let's go to the event calendar. Please let me know of your Mopar-only events by emailing me at WaltParPodcast@AOL.com, or you can message me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Threads. Now we're doing this in state alphabetical order. In Alabama, April 26th and 27th, 2024. Mopar's at the Battleship, benefiting Children's Hospital in New Orleans, Louisiana, and the Mulherron Home in Mobile, Alabama. At the USS Alabama Battleship Memorial Park in Mobile, Alabama, hosting Club Big Easy Mopar Association, BigEasyMopar.org for more information. In Coleman, spelled Cullman, Coleman Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram presents Mopars by the Lake at Sportsman Lake Park in Coleman, Alabama. Hosting club, Pentastar South. Call Robert 256-734-1064 or Brenda 256-590-2959. Alberta, Canada, and she is here. My wife just came in here, so she's home. Alberta, Canada. Western Canada's largest Mopar show, Western Mopar Madness. This will be at the Rad Torque Raceway in Leduc County, Alberta, Canada. The show will go on from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. Hosting club is the Edmonton Mopar Association, EMAWMM.com for more information. In the state of Arizona, the 37th Annual High Energy Mopar Invitational, or HEMI Show, will be held at AutoNation Dodge near Interstate 17 at Bell Road in North Phoenix, Arizona. Hosting club will be the Mopars Unlimited of Arizona, Mopars AZ, that's MOPARSAZ.com. In Arkansas, the 3rd Annual Turpentine Creek Mopar Classic will be held at Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge, Eureka Springs, Arkansas, from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. tcmoparclassic.com. I pulled this one from the Route 66 Mopar Club's Facebook page. In California, the Spring Fling 36 All Mopar Show and Parts Exchange will be held April 20th and 21st, 2024 at Woodley Park in Van Nuys, California. Hosting clubs will be the Southern California Mopar Car Club and the Chrysler Performance West Club. For more information, cpwclub.com. In Connecticut, the 44th Annual Mopar Expo Show and Swap Meet will be held at Papa's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in New Britain, Connecticut. Show will go on from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Hosting club Mopars in Motion. Contact Ralph at 860-416-1228. They put on several events. Here's the next one I have here in Connecticut. That is the 16th Annual Innovators Show and Shine All Mopar Show at Artioli Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Enfield, that's E-N Field, Connecticut. Goes on from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Again, the hosting club, Mopars in Motion. Contact Ralph, 860-416-1228. In Florida, April 13th, the 14th Annual Mopars by the Lake All Mopar Show and Swap Meet will be held at Wallace Brooks Park in Inverness, Florida. The hosting club is the Citrus County Mopar Club. On May 10th and 11th, the 37th Annual Sunshine State Mopar Show and Swap Meet at the Florida Horse Park in Ocala, Florida. The hosting association is the Florida Mopar Association, floridamoparsociation.com. In Illinois, February 11th, that's only a few weeks away, ladies and gentlemen, the Chicagoland Connection Swap Meet 2024 will be held at the Garage at Bettenhausen in Tinley Park, Illinois. The swap meet will go on from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m. The hosting club will be the Chicagoland Mopar Connection. Go to their Facebook page at Chicagoland Mopar Club under events for more contact information. And they got several more, too, here. On June 2nd, Mopar Madness 2024 at the Kazi Corner Hot Dogs, Beef, and Catering, 1250 75th Street in Downers Grove, Illinois. Hosting club again, Chicagoland Mopar Connection. Go to their Facebook page, Chicagoland Mopar Club under events for more contact information. Here's another one of their events. Mopars at the Park will be held from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. at Fox Lake Veterans Memorial Park, Fox Lake, Illinois. The show vehicle entry fee is $20. Spectator admission fee is free. Hosting club, again, Chicagoland Mopar Connection. Go to their Facebook page at Chicagoland Mopar Club for more information. On the weekend of July 20th, on the 20th and 21st, the first one will be the Midwest Charger Meet 2024. The Modern Mopar Muscle Meet will be that same day on the 20th, 2024. July 21st will be the Belvedere Mopar Happening. The time for all three events is 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. and will be held at the Boone County Fairgrounds in Belvedere, Illinois. Hosting club again, Chicagoland Mopar Connection. Go to their Facebook page at Chicagoland Mopar Club under events for more contact information on all these great events. In the great state of Indiana, the 29th Annual Chrysler Performance Trade Show and Parts Swap Meet, also known as the Indy Cylinder Head Show, will be held at the Indiana State Fairgrounds in two buildings, the Blue Ribbon Pavilion and the Champions Pavilion in Indianapolis, Indiana, from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. each day. For more information, indianastatefair.com/events. I guess they call that /. So /events. June 16th or 14th through the 16th, 2024, the National Hemi Owners Association Meet and Reunion will be held at Brownsburg, Indiana, near Indianapolis. I have no other information available at this time on that. In the great state of Iowa, August 25th, 2024, Mopars on the Mississippi 2024 will be held at the Dubuque County Fairgrounds in Dubuque, Iowa. The show goes on from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Again, the hosting club, Chicagoland Mopar Connection. Go to their Facebook page, Chicagoland Mopar Club, under events for more contact information. In Louisiana, it's the Big Easy Mopar Show benefiting Children's Hospital of New Orleans at the Frederick Siger, that's S-I-G-U-R, Civic Center in Chalmette, Louisiana. The hosting club is the Big Easy Mopar Association, bigeasymopar.org. And also in New Orleans, July 17th through the 21st, it's the 38th annual National DeSoto Club Convention. Will be held in New Orleans, Louisiana this year. DeSoto.org for more information. Coming up next weekend, I'm doing this right here on January 27th. Coming up in 1 week, February 4th, it's on a Saturday, the Walter P. Chrysler Great Lakes, no, that's on a Sunday, Sunday, February 4th, 2024. It's the Walter P. Chrysler Club Great Lakes Region Swap Meet, hosted by Roseville Moparts. Will be held 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the Macomb County Community College in Warren, Michigan. Go to Roseville Moparts Facebook page for more information. May 5th, the 26th annual North Oakland Mopar Muscle Club All Mopar Show and Swap Meet will be held from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Packard Proving Grounds, which is at 49965 Van Dyke Avenue, Shelby Township, Michigan. Hosting club will be the North Oakland Mopar Club. Facebook at North Oakland Mopar Club at North Oakland Mopar Muscle, or their website, www.northoaklandmoparmuscle.com. September 21st, the 13th annual Mopar Michigan Mopar Muscle Club All Mopar Car Show and Swap Meet, which will be held at 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Hub Stadium in Auburn Hills, Michigan. The hosting club for this is the Michigan Mopar Muscle Car Club. And you can get more information at michiganmoparmuscle.com or email showinfo@michiganmoparmuscle.com. Minnesota, the big one up there, the Midwest Mopars in the Park Car Show and Swap Meet at the Washington County Fairgrounds in Stillwater, Michigan. Hosting club is Midwest Mopars. For more information, midwestmopars.middletwin.com. In Missouri, and this is actually in Illinois, but it's the St. Louis area, the St. Louis Mopar Blast. It will be held at Worldwide Technology Raceway in Madison, Illinois. It will be hosted by Mopar Blast Incorporated, a registered 501c3 nonprofit. Now, you can go to their website, but it still has 2023 information. I went to the email, and they told me they will have a show. This is when it will be. I'm so grateful they emailed me back to let me know. But there will be a Mopar Blast in the St. Louis area, May 18th and 19th, 2024 in Madison, Illinois. Nebraska, July 21st, 2024, the second annual H&H Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram All Mopar Show. It's being held at their dealership in Papillon, Nebraska. Go to their Facebook and Instagram pages for more information. North Carolina, the spring Mopars at the Rock at Rockingham Dragway in Rockingham, North Carolina. RockinghamDragway.com for more information. May 11th, 2024, the 38th annual Piedmont Mopar Fun Run at Farmington Dragway in Mocksville, North Carolina. Hosting club, the Piedmont Mopar Club. Go to PiedmontMopar.com for more information. November 26th, it's the Fall Mopars at the Rock at Rockingham Dragway in Rockingham, North Carolina. RockinghamDragway.com. In Ohio, and boy, this list will grow. It will grow even more. February 24th, the Winter Classic Mopar Swap Meet and Cruise In will be held at the Ohio Expo Center at the Ohio State Fairgrounds in Columbus, Ohio, from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. JeffJohnsonMotorsports.com for more information. April 13th, the Mopar Spring Dust-Off will be held at Quaker Steak and Lube in the Polaris Center in Columbus, Ohio. Hosting Club, All Modern Mopars of Ohio. Check out for more information at Ammo Car Club on Facebook. That's AMMO Car Club on Facebook. May 3rd and 4th. The annual Mid-Ohio Mopars All Mopar Swap Meet and Car Corral will be at the Wayne County Fairgrounds in Worcester, Ohio. Hosting club is Mid-Ohio Mopars. For more information, midohiomopars.us. August 2nd through the 4th, Mopars at 42 at Dragway 42 in West Salem, Ohio. More information on that later, but they have set the date, and there'll be more information on that as the months go by. August 9th through the 11th, the 43rd Annual Nationals at National Trail Raceway in Kirkersville, Ohio, east of Columbus, Ohio, right on US 40, moparnats.org. It's been about 2 weeks since I checked their website. It was not up and running. Hopefully they're doing some changes or whatever. So you may or may not get through. moparnats.org is their information. September 19th through the 22nd, the second annual World of Mopar at Summit Motorsports Park in Norwalk, Ohio. In Oklahoma, May 10th through the 12th, it's the 4th annual Southern Plains Mopar Fest hosted by the city of Bristow, Oklahoma, and the Bristow, Oklahoma Historical Society. Of course, that's in Bristow, Oklahoma. SouthernPlainsMoparFest.com for more information. August 17th and 18th in Ontario, Canada. It's Mopar Fest, Canada's largest all-Mopar car show. It will be held from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. each day at 251 Jacob Street in New Hamburg, Ontario. More information, moparfest.com. August 24th, 2024, in Ontario, the second annual Motor City Mopar Show will be held at Motor City Chrysler in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. The hosting club is the Windsor Area Mopar Muscle Club. More details at WAAMM Facebook page. Look for that letters on their Facebook page under events. In Oregon, August 4th, the 39th annual Woodburn Drag Strip Mopar Nationals at Woodburn Drag Strip in Woodburn, Oregon. Go to woodburndragstrip.com or call 541-746-4620. In Pennsylvania, June 2nd, it's the 37th annual Lake Erie Tri-State Mopar Club All Mopar Show and Swap Meet from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the Albion County Fairgrounds in Albion, Pennsylvania. Hosting club is the Lake Erie Tri-State Mopar Club. On Facebook, you type LETS, L-E-T-S, capital letters, and Mopar Club on Facebook for more information. June 23rd, the All Mopar Show, hosted by Lansdale Auto Group and Miss Mopar from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Lansdale Auto Group in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania. The registration area opens up at 9 a.m. For more information, allmoparshow.com. And one of the biggest ones of them all, July 12th through the 14th, Carlisle Chrysler National. The Chrysler Carlisle Nationals at Carlisle Fairgrounds in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. CarlisleEvents.com for more information. In the big state of Texas, March 20th, 2nd through the 24th, Mopar in Heaven at Texas Motor Speedway, WAMshow.com. In Victoria, Australia, it's the Show and Shine 2024 at the Burvale Hotel in Nuna Waiting, Victoria, from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. $10 vehicle entry fee. The hosting club is the Charger Club of Victoria. Go to their Facebook page or chargerclub.org.au for more information. March 15th through the 17th in Victoria, Australia, Chrysler's on the Murray. That's Murry. Chrysler's on the Murray. Friday racing will be at the Logic Center Deca Track. Saturday and Sunday at Gateway Lakes in Wodonga, Victoria, Australia. Hosting club is the Albury Wodonga Chrysler Club. Chrysler's on the Murray.com. That Murray is MURRY.com. In Virginia, August 31st, Mopars in the Valley, powered by Berglund Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the Salem Civic Center. $20 for pre-registration, $30 day of show. September 1st, 2024 is the rain date. Hosted by David Simmons and the Roanoke Valley Mopar Club. Search Roanoke Valley Mopar Club on Facebook for more information. Now the dates on the Modern Street Hemi Shootout Series presented by Simple Speed and Performance. March 8th and 9th, the first stop will be at Orlando Speed World Dragway in Orlando, Florida. April 5th and 6th, the second stop will be at Rockingham Dragway in Rockingham, North Carolina. June 22nd, the third stop will be at Cecil County Dragway in Rising Sun, Maryland. August 16th and 17th, it will be part of the Woodland Dream Cruise weekend in Detroit, Michigan. And October 18th and 19th, the fifth stop, Modern Street Hemi Shootout, Maryland International Raceway in Mechanicsville, Maryland. Again, please let me know of your Mopar events by emailing me at WaltParPodcast@AOL.com, or you can message me on Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, or Threads. Thank you so much for joining me on the WaltPar Podcast. I would like to thank Ron Glon and Zach Palmer, Jonathan Ramsey of Autoblog.com, Autoline.tv, Automotive News, Jared B. and Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, The Beard, Patrick Rawl and David Zatz of StelPower.com, Instagram user Sinister Coyote 2.0, and the Detroit News, who provided resources for Episode 5. Now, I just finished a message campaign to all the Mopar clubs I could find to get the word out about the WaltPar Podcast. I sent messages and emails to over 100 Mopar and AMC clubs combined. But I still can use your help, too. Please tell your fellow Mopar fans, lovers, enthusiasts about the WaltPar Podcast. I would appreciate that very much. And I would also appreciate if you give me a top rating wherever you listen to this podcast. It really would mean a lot in helping this thing grow, and I appreciate all that you do very, very much. I also got to thank the people who follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. I appreciate them all very much, too, and I want to thank all of you for being there for me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, you can email me at WaltParPodcast@AOL.com. You can snail mail me at 455 P.O. Box 455, Apple Creek, Ohio, 44606. And you can find me on social media, again, on Facebook, Instagram, X, or Twitter, and now Threads. Search WaltPar Podcast. And don't forget to check out the Mopar-related podcast, the Dodge Pod with Alan Napier and Humberto Ortiz. The T-N-T podcast with Tara Graves and Tina August. And, of course, what he says, and it's very true, the best Mopar podcast on planet Earth, Talking Mopars with the Mopar hunter himself, Chris Albrecht. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you join me here next time for the next episode, number 6 of the WaltPar Podcast. And as Mike Bonadonna of the Citrus County, Florida, USA Mopar Club says, keep those highways beautiful. Drive your Mopars. We'll see you, everybody. Thank you so much.